Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. It has actually been a really long time. I recently got married and a lot has been happening. A lot of people believe traditional or white wedding dresses are very complicated and difficult, and to some extent it's true, but it's basically the same pattern that you use for every other dress. The only difference is your ability to be creative, use quality fabric, and you know, just knowing how to go about it and making it more special than every other dress. So today I'm going to be showing you how I was able to sew my wedding dress for both the white and the traditional. I actually used one corset pattern to sew both dress. Today I'm going to be showing you the easiest way of drafting a corset pattern. And as you can see, I've already gone ahead to draw my lines, my chest line, bust line, and on the bust. And so right now from the top line, I'm just going to be marking my shoulder. So my shoulder is 7 inches. I'll mark it on both the top line and on the chest line, and I'll connect drawing a straight line. And then from there, I'm going to go down by 1 inch and I'll connect it to the neck width, which is a standard measurement, which is 3 inches for myself, and I'll just connect it like so. So this line that we just drew now will be the shoulder for the dress. So from the shoulder down to the chest line, I'm going to divide it by 2. So that is 3.5 inches for mine. And then from this point, I'll go in by 0.5 inches. And then with a French curve, I'll be using it to draw the armhole. But before I draw the armhole for the dress, I'm going to be marking out quarter of my bust measurement, which is 8.5 inches. That is my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 8.5. So now with the French curve, I'll connect it from the chest line through the 0.5 inches all the way to the shoulder. And this would be the armhole for this corset. So the next thing now is I'm going to be using this already made bra cup. So I'm just going to take one part of it and I'll place it on the pattern paper like so. Pay attention to the fact that I am slanting it. I am not putting it straight like this. I am slanting it, making sure that the end part of the bra cup touches the chest line of the pattern that we are drafting. So from the under bust line, I'm going to just mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 3.5. From the center front, I'm going to go in by 0.5 inches. So from that 0.5 inches, I'm going to be placing my bra cup in such a way that this point is connecting all the way down to the 3.5 inches on the under bust line. Make sure it doesn't go beyond or above the under bust line. It's touching exactly at the under bust line. And then from there, I'll connect it all the way to the chest line like so. So when you're doing this, the bra cup is in place, everything is well arranged before you draw the line. So after that, I'll just connect the upper part of the bra cup all the way to the chest line like so. So when you're connecting, do not press the bra cup. Just make sure you don't press it when you're connecting. Just draw it as it is. So with this, I have successfully drawn out the shape of my bra cup on my pattern paper. So if in case you're confused on knowing the size of the bra cup that you're going to get, just know your bust measurement. If your bust measurement is 34, you can get 32. That is minus 2 inches from that bust measurement, and 32 is fine. So from this point, I've already marked out quarter of my bust measurement. So I'll just go to the under bust line and I'll mark quarter of my under bust measurements. Also, I forgot to mark my waistline measurement. That is, while I was marking other lines, I did not mark my waistline measurement. So right now, I'm just going ahead to mark my waistline measurement. So From my waistline measurements, I'm going to be marking quarter of my waist measurement. So I'll connect from the chest line all the way down through the underbust to the waistline. So on the hip line, I'll still also mark quarter of my hip measurements, and I'll connect it using a straight rule. But instead of marking it straight like that, I'm just going to curve it a little bit depending on how curvy you are. So from this point now, from the top line, I'm going to be marking the length of the corset that I want to make. I don't want it to go all the way down to my hip line. So I'm just going to be marking the exact point where I want it to be. That is the length of the corset. So from this point, I'll just go in by 1 inches. You can go in by 1.5 inches depending on how curvy you want it to be at the end. And then with my French curve, I'll just connect it all the way down to the new length of the corsets. So take note, this is a dartless corset. That's the reason why I did not add any allowance to the measurements. Like to my waist measurements, I cut exactly my waist measurements, exactly my bust measurements, exactly my hip measurements. Okay, so nothing was added to this measurement, to this pattern. So now I'm just going to cut it out, and I would use this front pattern to cut out the back pattern. So I've gotten another piece of fabric. I'm just going to place front on each pattern. I'll tape it down and cut it as I'm doing right now. So after cutting it out, we are going to be having 2 pieces of this. So one is going to be for the back, and then the other one is going to be for the front. On the back pattern, I'm just going to trace out my chest line measurements on it, and I'll also trace out my waistline. The next thing to do now on the back pattern, I'm going to be going in by 1.5 inches from the chest line all the way down to the hip, to the waistline. I'm just going to connect it all the way down to the hip line, like so. So right now, what I'm trying to do is to create the loop for this dress. You know, there's an opening at the back pattern, and it has a loop instead of a zipper. Then from that neckline point, I'm just going to mark out my neck width and go down by 1 inches from that point and connect it using a French curve. And this will be the yoke for the back. And I'll just go ahead to cut out the excess that we have there, because that place is going to be opened at the back. So for the front now, I'm going to go in by 3 inches. Remember, for the back we went in by 1 inches. For the front, we are going in by 3 inches, and then using the deeper part of our French curve, I'm going to connect it like so, and I'll cut it out, and that will be the neckline for the front. Why for the another thing I'm going to do for the front pattern is I'm going to be going in by 0.5 inches on the bra cup area. This is going to be the allowance that I'll be using to join the bra cup to the down part of the corset. So I've gone ahead to cut out the bra cup. Just pay attention to exactly what I'm doing and cut exactly what I have here. Yes, so now I've successfully cut it out, and I've placed it on the fabric, and I have cut. Okay, so the fabric that I used for the white wedding dress is an organza, but in this tutorial, since I couldn't film everything while I was sewing, I used an organdy fabric, but it was actually organza that I used, and I doubled it for the corsets in order to make it firm. And I make sure that I chose an organza that has a similar skin tone with mine. While for the traditional, I used a doll face for this part of the corsets.